Girls are now getting instructions. And they're headed over to their respective lanes and blocks.
Well, as they're getting ready to get this started, the boys shot put will get started at the same time. We'll have some updates from down there, and then shortly after that, the girls will get started with the discus as well.
Chapin will be in lane 3, White Knoll in lane 4, and Mid Carolina in lane 5.
We're definitely looking for a good race here. And what's interesting is 2016 is the last time the record was broken. And the runners there were Brooke Parker, Mary Grace Rich, Zarela Clark, and Katie Bukazar. If I mispronounce the name, I apologize. They ran a 51:63.
What we'll have to look for as they go around each exchange, we'll have to look for a white flag. We're not in a view to see who will commit a foul, but hopefully no white flags will show themselves and it'll be a clean race.
Well, once we get the first race started, then it'll start picking up, and we'll be one race after the other, and we'll be giving some live updates from some of the other field events as well.
Good clean start.
Looks like White Knoll's coming up, taking over the lead, followed by Mid Carolina.
Usually in your second leg is where you really want your fastest person to down that stretch to get you
coming down the stretch. It's going to be White Knoll in first. That's going to be a tight race between Chapin and Mid Carolina. And Chapin comes in third. So once again, the order of finish was White Knoll, Mid Carolina, and then Chapin.
White Knoll really won that race on that second leg because she actually just blew past everybody.
It's tough to make up in the turn, and then you've got the home stretch.
Yep.
Typically, you get that home stretch, whoever's in the lead. If they've got a decent lead, then it's hard to catch up. Well, it looks like in the boys 4x100, we've got Mid-Carolina, a Chapin A, Chapin B, and a White Knoll. Maybe we're doubling down and trying to help our chances.
And for those of you listening that may have attended Chapin High School, Jack LeGrand, still the ageless one, still the coach here at Chapin. Coached me track in '86 and '87. So I was talking before, I had close to, I don't know, 25 members, boys and girls, combined on our track team.
I think they've doubled that this year.
Yes, they have, definitely.
At least. As you were saying, back in the 80s, the boys' record is back from 1982 at 42-62, and it looks like there was some brothers, Johnny and Jeff Mayers.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And Mark Thompson and Kevin
Sultan.
Yes.
Actually, I think it was a little bit more difficult because everybody did 4 events. I mean, you had to do 4 events for us to be able to compete.
Zone 1 is ready. Zone 2.
Well, Tim, what were your 4 events?
my 4 events were the mile relay, long jump, triple jump, and then if anybody was hurt in any of the other relays, I got inserted.
Sounds like you were a team player.
In the slow lane.
Triple jump with those short legs. Zone 2 ready.
It was all about rhythm. I had short legs. It was all about rhythm. All about whether you can get those steps down.
Zone 2 is ready. Zone 3 is ready. All zones are ready. Go.
Right now, it looks like Chapin A is out to a small lead.
Yep.
And they are gaining, and they are taking a larger lead going into the 3rd leg.
See if we can hold this, not have a foul. Good
Good
clean
exchange.
handoff there.
And it looks like White Knoll on the outside is trying to make a move. And it is Chapin A first, and White Knoll, Chapin B, and then Mid-Carolina Rebels.
It's pretty good for our A team.
That was rather impressive. But also I was impressed with our B team that
Yes. I mean, they weren't that far behind.
fought to the finish.
Don't walk up there because I can't see them coming down the stretch.
Props go out to our cameraman, Uncle Jared Dawsey. Father of 3, uncle to everyone. And Asa McMeekin on our computer, making sure everything's operating.
Asa made a chart for me, put on the video board today. He says they call me, all the players call me Uncle Jared. So he says father of 3 uncle to all. Just put it up and put it back real quick.
Because he should have been studying AP or.
Oh yeah, totally.
Now event 3, the girls 4x800 meter relay.
Yeah, Asa told me he's abandoning his studies and going straight to ESPN as soon as he graduates high school.
You get full scholarship to the 400 network.
First call, girls 100 meters. First call.
Asa, you may be able to join that new football league that they're going to be having, in the spring. Got to have scoreboard operators. In fact, Chapin High School alum is actually working the scoreboard at the Mercedes Dome in Atlanta. Clemson, he's going to be a Clemson graduate. Drew Shealy.
Yep, Drew Shealy.
Started out at CSPN, and now he's working the board at Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta.
Insane.
But once again, that's just an opportunity that you have at Chapin that you can't get in some other schools. That doesn't matter what your interests are, there's always something that you can do and get plugged in.
All right, Richard, we got the 4x800 relay.
Chapin's in lane 3, that's Chapin A. White Knoll in 4, Chapin B in 5th lane, and then 6th is Mid-Carolina.
And if you're mathematically challenged like I am, that's twice around each person.
Well, it looks like we might have had a scratch. I was going by the heat sheet, but
It
it looks
has to
like we
be.
only have 3 teams
Did our
out
B
there.
team?
We'll give you an update of which ones they are. I don't know if we
I think
lost
the
our
Chapin
Chapin
B
B team.
team.
But to be honest with you, if the coach asked me to run 2 laps around there, I might want to scratch as well.
I
It was
can't
more
do
of
that.
the 400 variety, and that was about as far as you were going to get me to go.
But 4 points would bring it to a B. But isn't the tall person supposed to put their arm over the small person? Come on, Dara! Really ugly today. Same. I was like, ew, I haven't acted right. Don't say that. I hate when mommy says that.
White Knoll's got a little lead over Chapin, and then followed up by Mid-Carolina.
I'm wearing mine.
We'll get Uncle Jared to take a look over there at the pole vault pit.
Which one, that one?
Uncle Jared, if you'll get us a pole vault pit, the first one right here. Right now, they're not quite jumping; they're getting ready, and the coach is over there taking the inventory and asking all the jumpers where they want to.
To start
The
their
height
jump.
they want
yeah,
to
the height
start
they
at.
want to start at.
Just to give you a bit of information about that, the rules that a pole vaulter can come in at any height that they desire. They can pass. You have a total of 3 faults, and that's if your feet leave the ground. That's considered an attempt. But you can scratch, you can jump, and then scratch a height and wait to come in.
White Knoll extended their lead just a little bit.
And Mid-Carolina is in 3rd, getting ready to exchange from their 1st to 2nd runner.
Richard, I got some news today from Coach Jack LeGrand that Chapin will be hosting the region meet this year.
Fantastic. Maybe it's because of the new scoring and timing system that they
And
have.
we're
here.
going to be adding some bleachers in here during spring break from softball. And I talked to him today about moving the tennis bleachers over and getting some people some more seating. And
As we all know, that they don't just give out, the high school league doesn't just give out the hosting opportunities. That you have to prove that you can run the event as well as have a nice facility. And I will tell you, Chapin right now is a very, very nice facility, and especially the track and our new automatic timing system. It's a lot better than everybody standing on the side with stopwatches.
stop, yep.
Well, it looks like the girls' pole vault has started, and it looks like they started about on height of 7 foot. I did notice that the Chapin pole vaulter had cleared that, and once everybody has a chance to go through, then they will move it up to the next site. We've got White Knoll in the lead, handing off from their second to their third runner. She's got about a 10-second lead on Chapin.
No.
You just have to switch from different camera to camera. Say you did get two wireless, that we could switch and say, all right, we're going live to Tim at the pole here.
No. There are other options, but having the TriCaster is just so bulky that we just can't do that.
Okay.
However, the only way to actually have the ability to like switch all them cameras is if we have the wireless solution like we found out. There you go.
I'll tell you, I'm very impressed with the crowd that we have here. We have
Oh, yes.
several sets of bleachers, and I will tell you there's not an empty spot on the ones right here or even further down. Probably for a good 40 yards, we've got nothing but spectators. And once again, just goes to the support that we have for all of these young athletes. A quick shout out to one of our sponsors. I know that we have Sonic. I've seen a couple of people walking around with some Sonic bags and Sonic drinks. We appreciate their sponsorship, and a few Bojangles as well. I will tell you, as pretty as this is, I think this would be a great time to go get a tailgate package from Bojangles.
Yes.
Sit down and enjoy. It'd be a good afternoon. It'd be a good dinner. And here we go, White Knoll exchanging from their third to their fourth and final runner.
Shout out to boys and girls soccer with big wins over 5A teams last night. Chapin ladies defeated Malden at Presbyterian College 4-3 on penalty kicks, and boys took care of business at home against Fort Mill, who they had previously lost to in the Capital City Classic. Great job by both those schools defeating the 5A teams. Two good 5A teams.
Well, everybody says that since Chapin's moving up next year to 5A, that it's going to be tough to compete. It might be tough to compete in certain sports, but we have several sports that already are on that 5A level, and we'll hold our own. Just a few minutes ago, we had our exchange of our last from our third to our fourth from Chapin in about a 30-second deficit. And now we have our Mid-Carolina Rebels coming in for their exchange, as White Knoll has just passed them up and unfortunately has lapped them.
As an alumni of Chapin High School, it's always good when you can lap a Rebel.
It just never goes away, does it? It never goes away. Shout out to some of our viewers and listeners out there. We even had a shout out to Uncle Jared. Somebody says there's great camera work going on out there, and this is our first attempt at a track meet. And as we say, every time you do something, you want to get a little better. But it was a great shout out to the camera work of Uncle Jared.
Hey, if you're out there, one of the listeners, comment on the live stream. We'll get you a shout out where you're. Tell us where you're listening from. We'll be glad to put you out there. I know as far as football goes, we've had them as far away as Brazil, Germany.
And White Knoll just came in with the wind. Unfortunately, they lapped the Rebels, and Chapin is getting ready to come down the home stretch for second place.
Chapin crosses the finish line, second place. Mid-Carolina runner on the back stretch. About a 220 to home. Shout out to our #1 ranked baseball team. All spring sports doing well. Girls lacrosse undefeated. Boys lacrosse, very impressive. Lots of improvement. Boys tennis defeated AC Flora. That's always good. First time they faced them.
Quick shout out to Chapin Swimming. We love you, and we will be live streaming you soon.
That's right. We did a Chapin Swimming live stream. Got a little wet because we have to get a little close to the pool on that one. It's Mid-Carolina crosses the finish line, and that ends the girls 4x800. Next up will be the boys 4x800 meter relay. You'll have a White Knoll A in lane 3, Chapin B in lane 4, Chapin A in lane 5, and Mid-Carolina A in lane 6. Shout out to all these middle school, Chapin Middle School, elementary school, high school teachers that come out and watch their students run. We are one big family here. Richard might be bringing us some results. I think he's got us some scoring.
Scoring information. You know, every team, every sport has their different rules, and I wanted to get a clarification on the individuals. It can be up to 4 individual scored, and it goes 5, 3, 2, 1. However, on the relays, only 2 of the relays, first and second, and that's 5 and 3. But a team can only take one place, so you can't have 2 Chapin teams take first and second. They would take the first place, and then whoever came in third would then take the other 3 points.
Chapin coming across with the lead. And Chapin, the second team, coming across. But like Richard said, only one is going to get, if they continue this pace, only one Chapin team will get first.
Slide right here through. Side everybody. I didn't want to get in front of this camera.
The other day, yeah, he said something like, hurt his shoulder. Like, like that, and we're like, and we're trying to say, well, not to laugh, but he like joined
Chapin always having good distance program. That's basically how we competed in the mid 80s. We had some great distance runners. Frick girls, Mike Wallace.
Well, there was a question a couple of minutes ago of what field events are taking place right now. Pole vault, both the boys and the girls are in competition right now. The boys are getting ready to put the first pole up, and right now we've got the shot put for the boys, and the girls are throwing the discus, and we hope to have some updates on that as quickly as possible. Well, Chapin's A team is definitely extending their lead. And we have White Knoll, and we have Chapin B, followed up by Mid Carolina.
April and Giselle have the same birthday. She's probably out running. I mean, on a bag. Yeah, she's 18.
We were talking earlier, you're talking about shot put and discus, and we mentioned the name Randolph Bowers, record holder here at Chapin. We used to have to clear out. We couldn't run any events. Shot put and discus was where our tennis courts are now, and he would throw the discus over the track. So we had to hold up while he was throwing. Everybody else, we could run the running events, but we had to hold up on him.
And he still holds the record for shot put and discus back in 1984. And unlike what most people think, the shot put and discus are always by big individuals. He was a running back on the football team, but he was just so quick on his hips and his delivery and timing. And I will tell you right now, at a 62.2 shot put, that's a heck of a throw. And then 165 and 11 inches for a discus is a heck of a throw.
Yep. Looks like White Knoll has closed the distance on our Chapin B.
And if anybody's listened to our broadcast, it is just not a Chapin sporting event if we don't have a train in the background.
That's right.
But then again, if we didn't have the train tracks there, we wouldn't have the town of Chapin. Well, it looks like the hurdle team is already putting hurdles out on the track for the 100 high hurdles.
Yep.
You know, they say with those hurdles you're supposed to run them. I ran hurdles and my legs were shorter than the hurdle, so I jumped them.
I call those
the intermediates.
I call those the cheese grinder events. Now, I think the girls run the 100 and the boys run the 110, I believe.
Yes.
I think we got a shot of one of the Chapin pole vaulters clearing.
There goes our Chapin A, and it has a very large lead. Looks like things are changing up there. Coach keeps on lining them up on the next one that's coming in, and it looks like that Chapin B is the next to take off running. Chapin B, followed by Mid Carolina. And White Knoll. We got Chris Watson, who does a lot of the announcing. He is on his way in. I don't think that he could go any faster. Looking forward to getting the headset on him, and he has a lot of insight. He's got 2 children that run for Chapin, and Jake Watson, the junior, has been running, I think, since 7th grade, and we have Cameron that's in 9th grade, and she's been running for the past 3 years. So he'll be able to provide a lot of insight on our current runners and field events. Now, once we get to the mile, we will have some updates on the field events. We've got the hurdles getting ready to come up, and that'll take place pretty quickly, and then we'll get some updates for everybody. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not doing anything at home, you need to come out.
It is just one beautiful day.
A little bit of a breeze, got to get a little suntan before spring break. We'll also try to get an update from our tennis team. I think they're playing Dutch Fort today. And there we come, Chapin in first place, finishing up. So going back to the scoring, even though Chapin had 2 relays that took first and second, Chapin will get 5 points, and then White Knoll will take the 3 points. One team cannot take both sets of points in a relay. But when it comes to individuals, you can take as many positions and places that you want. If it's yours, you take it. Well, unlike our relays, we actually have the names of the individuals for our hurdles. Looks like we got 2 heats.
2 heats. Heat 1, we have Haley Hankins of Chapin, Carissa Wicker of Mid-Carolina, Chesney Crosby, White Knoll, Jessica Franklin, Mid-Carolina, Katie Smith, Mid-Carolina.
I love you. Good job, buddy. Come here, guys.
So 1 eagle in lane 2. So that's Chapin lane 2, Mid-Carolina lane 3, White Knoll lane 4, Mid-Carolina 2 runners in lane 5 and 6.
Now we'll be able to announce the finishing order in the heats, but without the actual time, it'll be difficult for us to tell you who actually took first, second, and third. And in this event, remember, it's the first 4 places.
Yeah, there's some food. Judges going on, you're in it, aren't you?
Tell you what, things are happening here in Chapin. Listening to Dr. Ross talk about almost over 70% of our kids don't leave school afterwards. They stay when school is out. They're either in a club, a sport. Traffic's not bad. When kids let out, it's really not, because they stay. There's always something to do.
I don't know how many kids we have participating in Chapin track program, but I'm gonna just guesstimate it. Seems like 50 or 75.
About the amount of swimming.
Yes, about the same amount of swimming.
We have a lot of swimmers too. A lot of chance for kids to come out and participate.
And just from my point of view right here, I'm seeing the baseball team taking some batting practice. You got the softball that's down there taking some. Looks like
they're playing. It's a JV and a varsity. They're playing OW.
Orangeburg Wilkinson. I was down there today. So unfortunately, it was on a Wednesday and not Thursday and Friday, so I couldn't get my Duke's barbecue. It looks like the gun is up. We're getting ready to get started. And they're off. Looks like we got White Knoll in the lead, followed by Mid-Carolina in lane 6. That's going to come to the finish. And we got Mid-Carolina and then Chapin.
Fortunately, in that heat, Chapin didn't get any points. Heat 2, it all depends on the times, but all Chapin athletes are in Heat 2. Abby Davis in lane 3. Autumn Browder in lane 4, Georgia Brownfield in lane 5, Kaylin Laff in lane 6.
Historically, what they try to do is the first heat is the fastest heat, and it'll be interesting. That doesn't say that somebody can't come from the second or third or fourth heat and not score points, so it still comes down to whoever has the best time.
Abby Davis, a 10th grader, Autumn Browder, an 11th grader, Georgia Brownfield, a 9th grader, Kaylin Laff, a 10th grader. Young team are Haley Hankins, who ran for Chapin in the first heats, only a 9th grader. So a young hurdling team.
Yes, Ms. Hankins also participates in swimming. That's another thing that we have. We have so many of our athletes participate in multiple sports. We have very few that are just one sport athletes. And the gun is up. And they're off. And I'm going to guess that Chapin's going to win this heat.
That's right.
And I will tell you right now, unofficially, our young lady that just came through in lane 6 or 7 for Chapin, this is unofficial.
Lane 6.
Lane 6.
Kaylin
unofficial.
Laff.
she might have squeezed into the top 4. Unofficial. She had a very good 4. And when you do 4, you typically try to do in 3. But in hurdles, when you have 4, that means they alternate legs. And I will tell you that is extremely difficult. You have to be very, very coordinated. But you'd like to, if possible, take 3 strokes or 3 steps or strides in between each hurdle. But I was fortunate enough when I ran track at Irmo that there was a individual, Anita Miller, and her nephews are up here, the Free Boys, and she had the unusual 4-step and went to the state championship every year. So I don't see her boys out, her nephews out here, but good athletes. Now they're moving the hurdles because it's going to be the 110 for the boys, just a little bit further and a little bit higher, but a lot more difficult.
This crowd just amazes me. I mean, back in the middle 80s, we'd had to beg our parents to come watch us. For anybody to come watch us.
I'll tell you, back in the 80s.
Now this is a huge crowd.
And we've got lights out here. I remember at Irmo there was times that, believe it or not, they asked to put the cars with the
running in the dark
so we could do the mile relay to finish the.
To finish it, yes, right.
And I will tell you, there was times that somebody was coming down the track, and if you were the 3rd or 4th leg, you were just guessing that you had your hand out when they were coming. But track is a great sport. There's so many different events that the kids can participate in.
All right, heat 1 for the boys, 110. We have junior Adam Paris from Chapin, 10th grader Noah Rankin from Chapin, 12th grader Colby Samuels from Mid Carolina, a senior LJ Gray from White Knoll, TJ Peoples, an 8th grader from White Knoll in lane 5. In lane 6, Will Lauer, a 10th grader from Chapin. In number 7, Ryan Norwood, an 8th grader from Chapin, who Miss McMeekin said we need to really look out for. So let's watch Ryan Norwood in lane 7 and see how he does. They're still raising up the hurdles and moving them out, spreading them out for 110-meter hurdles for the guys. Come out tomorrow to Cecil Woolbright Field for some early soccer. Chapin is hosting Wheaton North from Chicago, Illinois. That's for sure. Making their way down to Florida spring break, stopping by, playing us a game of girls soccer, and then there's another team, I can't recall the name, that's coming for boys for girls lacrosse right after that. Right. Also making their way down from spring break, so show them a little southern hospitality, a little southern weather. It's got to be a little warmer than what they're used to.
I'll tell you, this is a gorgeous day. This is a gorgeous day that we're having right now. Earlier this week, if you would have told me that we would have a day like this, I would have said, that's crazy. Here they come. It looks like that's White Knoll is definitely in the lead, and that's a good time.
White Knoll, North Carolina. Chapin looks like finishes 3rd in that heat. All right, in the second heat for Chapin, we'll have 8th grader Clay All from Chapin, 10th grader from Chapin, Will Martin in lane 2, 10th grader from Chapin, Forrest Ward, a senior Marshall Johnson from Mid Carolina. In lane 5, my second favorite athlete here other than my daughter, who's a senior soccer player, my nephew Adam Beatball, 10th grader. And 10th grader from White Knoll, Stephen Wilburn. And 8th grader from Mid Carolina, Jackson Livington in the second heat.
Like I said, we will come in with some updates from the boys long jump. That's coming in shortly. As you heard the crowd just then.
Is that the pole vault?
That's a pole vault. I'll tell you, the poles are made a little differently now because back then
that would have hurt.
That would have hurt. It was aluminum. They hit it just right. Make a V shape around your body and become part of the V club. And they're off. Looks like
Go left! Go left!
Marshall Johnson.
Go left! Go! Go! Woo! Get him, Will!
Won by Stephen Wilson, followed up by Forrest Wood. And it looked like Marshall Johnson from Mid Carolina stumbled a little bit on that last hurdle and then had to catch up a little bit. Go, Clay! All right, it looks like we're coming up with the
What we got here? Fastest person on the track, right here, 100 meter. Boy, do we have some heats. We have 5 heats for the girls.
Maybe we'll have somebody that pops out a 9-second Olympic record.
All right, heat 1, Amira Belk from Chapin, 7th grader. Anaya Thompson, senior from Mid Carolina. Kayla Tobe, 9th grader from Mid Carolina. Then Kanaya Johnson, 8th grader from White Knoll. Shayla Chaplin, 10th grader from White Knoll. Zadaria Summers, 10th grader from White Knoll. Mary Grace Rich, a junior from Chapin. And Sage Dreer, 7th grader from Chapin. And just to let everybody know how popular track is, and heats 2, 3, 4, and 5 have all 8 lanes full, and we have 1 person from Mid Carolina and 1 person from White Knoll, and Chapin round out the rest of the heats. So we'll be, Uncle Jerry to be filming a lot of Chapin runners here.
I get to predict who's going to win those heats.
First call, boys and girls, 1600. First call, boys and girls, 1600.
Yeah, but she's did the. No, they're just they taped it so that it doesn't move.
Okay.
But they didn't tape it as tight as they did last time because she bent her knee, but now it's. This was right after.
It's amazing. Those people down there on this track are. When you go to those guys back,
The one standing right.
all the ones standing right on top of the track. I can't get the runners. I can't move my camera out any further, and I can't get.
Well, Richard said he's going to. I'm hoping he's going to Solace and get us something. Up here he comes.
Really? You want me to go off?
He had to go check it.
Oh yeah, okay. All right, that works.
Welcome back, Asa. Had to go check on a few things.
All right, I have
Something sort of like that.
the results for
Screw right here.
our boys triple jump.
Results for boys triple jump.
In first place, we have L.J. Gray from White Knoll, 40, 11-inch jump. We have Juan Johnson from White Knoll, 38 and 11-inch. Third place, we have Zach Bradham from White Knoll, 38.9, and Tyler McCrae. We have Tyler McCrae for Chapin at 38.6.
Hopefully we'll be able to hear Richard a little bit better. We switched headsets.
Oh, sorry about that.
There you go.
That
Now I
makes
can
for a
hear you
little
good.
bit better internet and radio for the people that are out there that are streaming it for them. And I'll go over the results again for the triple jump for the boys. Once again, L.J. Gray from White Knoll, first place at a 40 and 11-inch. Followed up by Juan Johnson from White Knoll with 38 and 11-inch. Zach Branham from White Knoll with 38.9. And then in fourth place, our Chapin Tyler McCrae at 38.6.
And I heard the gun. They're on the way.
We have White Knoll, Mid Carolina.
In the second heat, we have Catherine Mims, 9th grader from Chapin. Isis Williams, 8th grader from Mid Carolina. Gracie Bates, 9th grader from Chapin. Ashley Pate, 10th grader from Chapin. Katie Buxar, 11th grader from Chapin. Camden Metz, 9th grader from Chapin. Morgan Gerard, 7th grader from Chapin. And Jordan Ray, a 7th grader from Chapin. All in heat 2.
There's a guy watching from Virginia.
Hey, whoever's watching from Virginia, make a comment. Let us know who you are.
Mark Oakley.
Mark Oakley.
Virginia to see my son Josh.
Shout out to Mark.
We will be giving you results as they come in, as we get them, because all of our finishes are unofficial. And they're off again.
Like lane 4, Ashley Pate.
How many heats do we have in this one, Tim?
5.
5
We're on to heat
heats.
3. Katie Godoy, got to be a relation to Bernie Goodboy Godoy. In 7th grader from Chapin, Sophia Lyles. 8th grader from Chapin, Ashley Miller. 10th grader from Chapin, Alina Ruff. 10th grader from Chapin, Kylie Marchese. 9th grader from Chapin, Caitlin Eisenhower, a senior from Chapin. Shelby Jumper from Chapin, 9th grader. Grace Splitberger, a senior from Chapin. So all Chapin Eagles in this heat. Like I said, we have a lot of middle school, elementary, high school teachers that come watch their students run. Miss McMeekin, she's probably had about 50 of them come up to her. And they're off again.
Up.
False start on our 3rd heat.
Bring them back. Start them over.
Good waste of a cap.
You know, a lot of times when you have that false start, it's that athlete that says, "Hey, I got to get a little extra oomph because I know I might not be able to beat them heads up, but maybe I'll beat them out of the gate." They're getting ready to reset them. Send them off. If you're hearing the ooh and ah, that goes to the pole vault. It was a good try, and it was off. Emory Beatonball, alumni.
Yeah, checking in.
Up and Chapin wins the heat.
Shout out. Hope to be Clemson graduate in May. Getting his ring a couple weeks. Emory Beatonball, former track, former football player here at Chapin. Watching his brother run. Heat 4. From White Knoll, Kelly Eichelberger, a senior. Zayler Bailey's, an 8th grader from Chapin. Monica Sanchez, an 11th grader from Chapin. Ruby Fisher, a 9th grader from Chapin. Natalia Cazazzo, 9th grader from Chapin. Reese Adam, 10th grader from Chapin. Mary Pfeiffer, a 10th grader from Chapin. And Bethany Lindler, an 8th grader from Chapin. This is heat number 4.
And as you heard it in the background, they're off.
White Knoll finishes first in the heat.
Just as a quick reminder, you can win from any heat. You can score from any heat. That was a fast race.
Heat 5, Madison, all from Chapin. Madison Snyder, Violet Mead, Gilly Renor, Rachel Gandhi, and Ceci Garcia, all from Chapin.
All right, we're off again.
Just started.
All right, quick update on the girls' long jump. In first place from White Knoll, Shira La Chaplin at 16.1 feet. And in second place, Bella Martin from Chapin at a 15.1. Then we have from White Knoll, Kara Straughter at 14.10. And to follow up in fourth place, our own Elena Ruff from Chapin at 13.10.
All right, first heat for the boys 100. We have in lane 1 Cooper Evans, 10th grader from Chapin. Jack Edwards, 11th grader from Mid Carolina. Troy Richburg, 10th grader from Mid Carolina. Alan Alvarez, senior, White Knoll. Jacob Harmon, 12th grader, Mid Carolina. Elijah Juan Wilson, 10th grader from Chapin. And Xavion Gordon, senior from Chapin.
You know, it's interesting when you look back at different records and how old some of them are, and with all the different technology and everything that's going on nowadays, it's hard to imagine that some of these records are back from the 80s. Like Al Ergel, 1983, 100 meters, 10.86. And we'll tell you right now, back then that was flying. It's fast now, but that was flying back then.
Go, Coop!
Right, no, Chapin. Looks like, is that Elijah Juan Wilson?
That was quick.
Yes, it was. Heat 2, you have Derek Jones, 9th grader from White Knoll. Josh Wells, an 8th grader from Chapin. Tyson Thomas, 11th grader from Chapin. Uchino Wosu, 11th grader from Chapin. Joseph Glover, a junior from Mid Carolina. Jemias Holloway, 10th grader from White Knoll. And Will Hedler, an 8th grader from Chapin.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that White Knoll, Alan, how do you pronounce that last name?
Alan Alvarez?
Yeah, I would say that Mr. Alvarez is going to be the winner.
Yes. He was well out in front of that first heat.
I've noticed that we have one of our sponsors in the crowd, Rusty Todd with Richardson Heating and Air.
If you need any heating and air,
call Richardson.
Heating and Air, Rusty Todd.
They're off again.
I think that was Tyson Thomas in heat 2. Heat 3, AJ On, 10th grader Chapin. Jason Jenkins, 10th grader Chapin. Murray Newell, 10th grader White Knoll. Noah Rankin, 10th grader Chapin. Tyler McCray, 11th grader Chapin. Ryan Norwood, 8th grade Chapin. And Jackson Owens, 10th grade Chapin. And after this heat, it'll all be Chapin runners from heats 4, 5, and 6.
But so the future of the program looks good. I'm just like glancing over there from heat 2 all the way through heat 6. There's one 12th grader, but most of these kids are 8th, 9th, 10th, and a few 11th. But a lot of 9th graders in there. But I've also heard that the 9th grade class might be one of the most athletic classes that's come through Chapin in some time. Well, like we've said before, give us a shout out. If you're listening to us, text us, post, let us know that you're there.
Come on, Norwood! Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
And it looks like White Knoll.
White Knoll, Murray Newell wins the heat number 3. Heat number 4, all Chapin athletes. Chris Haley, 9th grader. Aiden Kitchens, 10th grader. Connor Calder, 10th grader. Josh Oakley, 9th grader. Cooper Edenfield, 9th grader. Cody Flynn, 10th grader. And Max Stewart, a 9th grader.
Well, Tim, you being from Chapin and growing up here, I'm pretty sure there's names, last names that you recognize. And I've got a feeling that somebody that you were in school, his son is running in this heat. Lane 3.
Yeah, Connor Calder. Devin, his dad.
I think I saw him walking around a few minutes ago.
Good baseball player. Actually, he has himself a state championship with Chapin baseball. I think that might have been the 1983 team. His brother Brent, more my age, he also was a good baseball player for Chapin. And my sister would shoot me if I didn't mention Deborah. Awesome flag line in the band. So one of my sister's flag girls in the band.
That's a fine family right there.
Yes.
And they're off again. And once again, I'm going to predict Chapin wins this heat. Up, and we had one take a spill, but thank goodness of the tracks that we have nowadays, you don't get all skin up. You almost bounce up to your feet.
I know it. Heat 5, AJ Kutcherenko, 9th grader. Dawson Bates, a 12th grader. Richie McKissick, 10th grader. Stephen Godalewski, 10th grader. 12th grader Chris Gleaton, 9th grader Jackson McCutcheon, and 9th grader Noah Morris.
And there goes Mr.
There's
Calder
Mr.
right
Calder
there.
right
We just
there.
spoke about him, and he walks right for us. Perfect timing. You know, the one thing I've noticed, Tim, is as we've gotten in the latter heats here, if you look at their form, and they will refine them a little bit, but you see them coming down, and they've got their face all, tightened up, and their arms and their shoulders. And if you look at the first heat, Mr. Alvarez, he was very, very comfortable and relaxed. And the one thing that these kids will learn as they get older, that the more you tense up, your muscles tighten up, and you just can't perform as well. So you need to be as loose and as comfortable as possible, but they'll get there.
And head needs to be straight. When I watch track and field on TV, you can tell the ones that are struggling, their heads bobbing around.
Well, don't you know that head
Nice
bobbing
and
makes
smooth.
you go faster?
Yeah. Looks like lane 2, Colby Bennett.
You can just set it by herself.
I think that was. We're on heat 6 now, correct?
Yes, we are.
All right. Heat 6, Christian Bolleman, 9th grader. Colby Bennett, 11th grader. Enrique Hewitt, 9th grader. Colin Seacrest, 9th grader. Trey Stevenson, 9th grader. And Ross Calderzone, 11th grader. Our last heat in the boys' 100-meter dash. Jared, say your wife's name.
Hey, we have the soccer hype video on here. We get bored.
Don, if it ain't close.
Oh my God.
Darn if it was not close.
I'm gonna ask her. I didn't know she was running.
It's a revolution. It's a revolution. It's a revolution.
Once again, all Chapin runners will be running in this final heat. And they're off. Lane 4. Enrique Hewitt wins the sixth. Next up, girls 1600 will report to the starting line.
Somebody jumps on her back.
Girls 1600. This is not my type of event. You've heard that saying, if you found me on a jogging path, remember. If you found me on a jogging path, just remember I was murdered and somebody drugged my body there. Just remember that, Asa, on these long distance ones. Whew. Brawin Colner for White Knoll, Elena Monaco, White Knoll, Chapin runners Amy Ahuja, 10th grader, Meredith Ussery, 12th grader, Katie Barfield, 9th grader, Addison Blackman, senior, Leslie Benitez, 11th grader, Mid Carolina, Devin Jones, an 8th grader, Chapin, McKenna Bradley, 11th grader, Chapin, Emily Davis, an 8th grader, Mid Carolina, Erica Davis, 8th grader, Mid Carolina, Josie Blanchard, 10th grader, Mid Carolina, and Maria McClive, 8th grader at Chapin. Total of 13 runners here at the 1600 meter girls. Just to give you a heads up, the 1600 meter boys will have a total of 31 runners in Heat 1. Yeah, I wonder if the track can hold them all. 31 runners in the next boys heat. Shout out to Chris watching online. And we're off. Once again, math not my strong point, but I think this is 4 times around. Richard Oots coming back with some results.
All we need right now is a runner. No pun intended. Here we go. I'm going to give you the update on where we are after the men and women's hurdles. We have on the girls, we have in first place White Knoll with 32 points, Chapin with 10, followed by Mid Carolina with 7. And then for the boys, a little bit tighter race between White Knoll and Chapin. We've got 23 by White Knoll, 13 by Chapin, and Mid Carolina followed up by 2. And I have the official results from some of the different events that have taken place so far. And some of them were fairly obvious, but especially when we have multiple heats, it's a little bit more difficult. So really quick with the girls 4x100 meter relay, we had White Knoll first, Mid Carolina second, followed by Chapin. And for the boys 4x100 relay, we had Chapin in first, and we had White Knoll in second. And then with the girls 4x800 meter relay, we had White Knoll in first, Chapin B in second. Once again, they only score first place 5 points, second place 3 points. And then we'll go to the boys triple jump. And we got LJ Gray, White Knoll, as we mentioned before, a 40.11 inch jump. We have Zach Brandon from White Knoll, the 38.9. We have Tyler McCrae from Chapin at 36.06. And then Avion Smith from White Knoll with a 37.04. Girls long jump. We have Shahia La Chaplin from White Knoll at 16.01. We have Bella Martin from Chapin, an 8th grader, at 15.01. And a Kyra Straughter from White Knoll at 14.10. And then Elena Roof, Chapin 13.10. Boys 4x800 meter relay. Chapin A came in first, followed by White Knoll. Chapin's A was with Josh Humphreys, Reese Melvin, St. Hadwin, and Carrie-Ann Shuttley. Boys 110 meter hurdles. In first place, LJ Gray, White Knoll, 14.75. That's a pretty good little race there. He was moving. Followed by TJ Peebles, a 8th grader from White Knoll at 16.4. And then Kobe Samuels from Mid Carolina, 17.28. And then Will Laura, at a 10th grader from Chapin, at 18.72. And then to follow up with our last update, we have the girls 100 meter hurdles. And we have in first place Chesney Crosby from White Knoll, 19.21. We have a Kaylin Law, Chapin, 20.37. And Katie Smith from Mid Carolina 20.70. And Carissa Wicker, Mid-Carolina, 21.11. We'll do our best to keep you updated. We won't have it where it's just rapid fire one after another, but as the results come in, we'll try to keep you updated. You know, Tim, you had referenced that you had to go in different events when you were growing up. It looks like that L.J. Gray from White Knoll, he wins the triple jump and the 110-meter hurdles.
Mm-hmm.
Impressive.
Definitely.
As I was doing all those updates, I know Tim had a chance to keep up with whoever is the leader in this race.
Yeah, we have two White Knoll girls leading right now. Actually, Bronwyn Colner and Elena Monaco are right there close, and then behind them are two Chapin girls. The leaders are coming. The leaders are coming home right now. And two White Knolls finished 1 and 2. Chapin will finish 3 and 4.
You know, several of these athletes right here, they'll have run that 2 mile and they'll get back up in a few minutes. They'll run the
the 32,
the 2 mile, and then some of them, the ones that maybe are just a little off, they're going to get up and they're going to run the 800.
Mid-Carolina coming in.
Gotta like that effort all the way to the finish line.
Yep. I think our last two runners are coming in.
There's a rumor that we're going to have a guest today, the one and the only Rusty Todd. I heard he might come around for a few minutes and give us a little insight. He's got a son here that's a junior that has been doing track for a couple of years. And
Richard, I think an Army just invaded the track.
Wow.
All 31 runners. Woo. Jaden Kingsley, Joseph Humphreys, St. Hadwin, Nathaniel Wilburn, Ford Pierce, Brendan Gray, Wesley Black, Peyton Brown, Jared Ballantyne, Davis Ricks, Jack Riley, Parker Roof, Julian Tirado, Justin Cole, Wilkes Miller, Holden Tulich, Bradley Peeler, Tanner Mott, Gavin Tirado, Leon Fulmer, Jack Hill, Riley Chirico, Hayden Hartage, Eric Brooks, Tyler Golbus, Logan Hedgefield, Caleb Humphreys, Connor Hemphy, Reese Morey, Sam Worley, and Isaac Nussbaum.
And can we have the oxygen for Tim?
1, 2, 3. 23 out of the 31 Chapin runners. Our odds.
I'm not sure what the quick odds are of that, but I am going to predict Chapin wins. You know, in this heat, the order that they have is indicative to their times that are entered. So Jaden Kingsley has the fastest time entered. I don't know what it is, but he's got the fastest time entered so far. And then Joseph Humphreys would have the second, followed up by an 8th grader, St. Hadwin. Thank you.
Chapin crosses first lap, and 2, 3, and 4 Chapin, followed by a couple White Knoll and Chapin, and then a whole bunch there grouped towards the last. Mr. Uncle Jared, our thoroughbred from South Aiken. Did you run track? You didn't. Any of your brothers? Any of your brothers run? No. Oh, yeah, football? Football, basketball, and baseball. Dawsey brothers are legends in the town of Aiken. In fact, they're so legendary they won't allow 2 back. One lives there, won't allow the other 2 back. Yes. And McCullough Dawsey, the greatest Dawsey of them all.
Oh, man. And there's the OG Ethan Dawsey.
19, pick it up! Come on, Isaac, pick it up.
I think next year I'm going to bring up to the Eagle Club board that we get the paper tags put on the back of these runners that we can know who they are. You know, they can just pin it on the back and we can have a.
I think we need to be elevated. Maybe over in the infield we'll be elevated like they do in the NCAAs.
We've got the ticket booth. We could get on top with the camera and.
Well, we can see that the pole vault's getting a little higher when they have to start taking the pole to put it up there.
Once again, Chapin out to a huge lead. Also second and third. This is where Chapin makes up the points.
Close the gap.
Keeps you in the competition.
Come on, Nathaniel, pick it up. 120.
Looks like Mr. Ricks just ran by having a conversation. Just on a leisurely 1 mile run.
And Chapin finishes first.
Jaden Kingsley.
There you go, Nathaniel! Drive it! All the way!
Chapin finishes second.
I think that was Joseph Humphreys just there. Followed by White Knoll, and I think that's Saint. Hadwin right there came in fourth.
So Chapin scores 5, 3, and 1.
And that was an 8th grader that just took fourth place. I like to see that effort coming all the way through.
Yep, all the way through.
Yes. You know, I had a track coach at Irmo that used to say that if you were a runner, if you didn't toss your cookies or you couldn't sit down, you didn't give it your all after every track meet.
We had Paul Sheely who would ride behind us in his truck, making sure we didn't stop, kept us running. Unfortunately, he wouldn't cut on the music in his truck, so we could at least run to some music, but
now we're getting ready for the 400-meter run.
yep.
And we don't need to go anywhere. We sit right here, and they
That's
run
right.
and come back to us.
Run and come back to us. Comes the last Mid-Carolina runner through. .400-meter ladies on the track. Khadijah Hilton from White Knoll. Ashley Miller, 10th grader Chapin. Roan Allen, 12th grader White Knoll. Kate Stebbins, 9th grader Chapin. And Isis Williams, an 8th grader Mid-Carolina.
You know, this is the longest race that is considered still a sprint. That's why you're seeing that they're getting their
blocks
set up, yes. And it will be a staggered start. If I'm not mistaken, over there on the pole vault, you got Crazy Legs, Sam La Rosa getting ready to attack the next height.
Sam's dad, alumni at Chapin. And he clears it. Nice.
It looks like he has another foot left in him. I would say it's a family that definitely is willing to put their time in for Chapin Athletics. Paul, his dad, is president of the Eagle Club, and put a lot of time and effort. But his uncle is actually Glenn keeps the score clock for the football team. I will tell you, these blocks have also changed from when I ran.
Oh, yeah.
These look high tech.
I was just noticing, you said Tyler McRae had won, 3 events so far for White Knoll?
Mm-hmm.
He is listed to run the 200-meter dash in the 3rd heat. No, wait a minute. No, it's the guy from, who am I looking for? The gentleman from White Knoll. LJ. Trying to look and see if he's in a 4th event.
He's probably doing one of the jumping events.
He may be doing the triple jump.
Tim, can you go over on the triple jump, how you're supposed to do it?
It's a hop, a step, and a jump.
There you go.
Basically.
It's all about timing, and you want to hit that board the closest that you can without foot fouling.
Yep.
And let it fly.
So if you're right-footed like me, it would be right to right, step on your left, jump off your right.
But no twist in the middle, right?
No twist in the middle. And if you have a hitch kick, more power to you.
And they're off. It looks like we have 2 White Knoll runners in the lead right now. Alyssa. Is that Alyssa Williams? Who's out there in the front?
Was it just 4 runners this time? Maybe we had
we
Mid
might have
Carolina
had somebody
scratch.
Is that all you got, Boogie? You got the grunt? You got the grunt?
We have Rolone Allens from White Knoll, followed up by
Khadijah Hilton.
And then our 8th grader, Kate Stebbins. All the way through the finish line, followed up by Ashley Miller.
Heat 2, we have Gracie Bates, 9th grader from Chapin, Monica Sanchez, a junior from Chapin, Bella Martin, 8th grader from Chapin, Zadaria Summers, 10th grader White Knoll, Mary Grace Rich, and 11th grader from Chapin.
Just as a quick reminder, you can have somebody come from a higher heat number 2 that can also score. They can actually win it if they have a fast enough time.
Plugging these into like a red console.
Like once everything's over, we can test it real quick.
It looks like we're getting ready to get started. Everybody's getting their last chance to get set. Gun is up. And they are off.
I wonder where it's going to be.
Yeah, it's on. You go to YouTube. It's CSBN.
Okay.
And it has her whole run, her whole race.
I'll definitely look on it. Thanks, man.
He's gonna come back for his stuff. Her jacket, keep one of them. I got you.
It looks like the White Knoll runner is in the lead. Now Miss Summers. Well, the unofficial is Kate Stebbins, the 9th grader, did come in 3rd, even though there was a faster runner in the 2nd heat. I still believe her time was best. Once again, another 9th grader pulling in points. Excuse me, 8th grader. I want to make sure that's a clarification. It has her down as a 9th grader, but I do know she's an 8th grader.
Boys 400-meter dash, 2 heats in this. 9th grader Jackson McCutcheon, lane 1. Chris Gleaton, senior, Chapin.
Swimmer.
Brenton Gray, 10th grader, Mid Carolina. Alan Alvarez, we've said his name before, from White Knoll, senior. Connor Lehman, 9th grader from Chapin. Steve King, 10th grader, Mid Carolina. Jason Jenkins, 10th grader Chapin, and Marshall Johnson, senior from Mid-Carolina.
I'll tell you, you got some good athletes out there, and the phrase I like to use, they look good on the hoof. You see that they've been in the weight room. Well, one good thing about a track meet, if you're watching online and you've got a particular individual you want to watch, you more than likely know the order of the event, so you can go get a bite to eat and come back and still get a chance to see your child or whoever you want to see run. Our goal is in the future that we will have some live shots from the shot put and discus, the long jump, the high jump, the triple jump. And let's don't forget about the locals of the pole vaulters. Got to be just a little crazy to do that. They're off. It looks like we might have Mr. Alvarez. Alan Alvarez might be in the lead. It's hard to see from here.
Him and Connor Lehman, looks like, maybe.
If Connor runs anywhere like he plays football, he's not going to give up to the very
Yep,
end.
you're right about that.
It comes down to Mr. Alvarez. And then Connor. Followed up by Brenton Gray.
Heat 2, David Frederick, senior from White Knoll, Noah Morris, 9th grader Chapin, Max Stewart, 9th grader Chapin, Richie McKissick, 10th grader Chapin, Stephen Godlewski, 10th grader Chapin, Justin Hedgepath, 8th grader Mid-Carolina, Darius Derek Jones, 9th grader White Knoll, and Jemias Holloway, 10th grader White Knoll.
Just let everybody know out there, we still are taking sponsorships for this year and going into next year. So if you hear the broadcast and you want us to give your business a plug, not just here, but in all the events that we broadcast, as well as the football games, let us know. Contact the Eagle Club, and we will definitely get you hooked up.
Yeah, we'd like to thank a couple of our major sponsors, Generations of Chapin, Wilson Insurance, Wilson Financial. In need of a new car, visit Stokes Trainer in Newberry. One of our big scoreboard sponsors, MSA, Medical, and Christy Jeffcoat.
And I know that Riverland Hills Baptist Church is one of ours, as well as Richardson Heating and Air, Rusty Todd, Bojangles, Sonic.
We've got banner spots always available.
I heard last year that we had one of our lead sponsors put a ad on the scoreboard, and after the first game we ran their commercial, I heard they sold several of their products. And I'm not talking about a $2 or $3 product. A nice 4-wheel operating automobile trucks at Stokes Trainer. Well, that was David Frederick from White Knoll that came in first. I have a high suspicion, unofficial results, that the first heat was a little bit faster.
Okay, only one heat in this girls' 400-meter hurdle.
We got Premier Roofing, Exit Realty, called Peggy On, Palmetto Health USC Medical Group, Medical Services of America, Chrissy Jeffcoat, Midlands Orthopedic Neurosurgery, Lake Murray Floor Covering,
Bill
Lake
Green.
Murray, yes, Bill Green, Lake Murray Driving Academy, and Harrell and Martin, PA. Our good friends Trey Harrell, an alumni from Chapin. They'll take care of all your attorney needs.
Galloway Family Homes.
Yeah. I will tell you, not necessarily a Chapin alumni, a Irmo alumni, but a heck of a family, and they do things right, first class, and got some athletes coming up in that family that'll be on this track and playing soccer soon.
High school girls 400 meters. We have Autumn Browder from Chapin, 11th grader. Katie Smith, 9th grader, Mid Carolina. Jessica Franklin, 9th grader, Mid Carolina. Carissa Wicker, 9th grade, Mid Carolina. Haley Hankins, 9th grader, Chapin. Abby Davis, 10th grader, Chapin. Georgia Brownfield, 9th grader, Chapin. And Kaylin Laff, 10th grader at Chapin.
And we just had Lily bring us the official result for the girls 100-meter dash. And we have
Sweep of White Knoll.
Sweep of White Knoll.
Looks like Kanaya Johnson, first place, 8th grader. Shayla Chaplin, 10th grader, White Knoll, and Zadaria Summers, 10th grader. The 8th grade time was 12.73 seconds. 4th was Kayla Tobe. And in 5th, Amira Belk for Chapin, just out of the scoring.
What a 7th grader. She's got plenty of years ahead of her.
That's right.
I hope spring break has a couple of days like this. Just a gorgeous day. The sun's gone down. It's so comfortable.
Still nice.
Yes, it is. It looks like the pole vault is completed, and we should be getting some results shortly. And we are getting ready to get started with, I personally believe, one of the toughest, if it's not the toughest race and event in all track, and that is the 400 hurdles. It's hard enough to sprint a 400, then you're going to throw these hurdles in there. This is not just speed, this is a mental race as well.
I see what you're saying.
as we're waiting for them to go down the back stretch and come to the home stretch, just to put a little age on me, we didn't have the 400 hurdles. We had the 330 hurdles.
That's the way ours was.
Now, when we went to the big meets in Florida and in Charlotte, we ran the 400 hurdles. And I will tell you, you think 110 meters is not very far, or 100 meters is not a big difference, but it is when you're running the hurdles.
Yeah, our track was 110, 220, 330.
And I'm pretty sure that Chapin traveled to a couple of tracks that actually had dirt tracks.
Yes.
We would have to change out our spikes to put longer spikes in. And I'm not talking about in the 1930s and 50s. I'm talking about the 80s. In Mid-Carolina, I think that's Jessica Franklin. I'm sorry. That's Carissa Wicker. Came in first place.
Looks like either Katie Smith or Jessica Franklin came in second. Chapin third.
Now we're getting lined up for our boys 400.
Heat 1, Forrest Ward, Chapin. Forrest Ward, Chapin. 10th grader Adam Meadenball, 10th grader, Chapin. Ryan Norwood, 8th grader, Chapin. TJ Peoples, 8th grade, White Knoll. Colby Samuels, 12th grade, Mid-Carolina. Noah Rankin, 10th grade, Chapin. Adam Paris, 11th grade, Chapin. And Will Lauer, 10th grade, Chapin.
And I do have the final results from the 100-meter dash for the boys. Alan Alvarez, White Knoll, 10.87. Elijah Wilson, Chapin, 11.45.
Uchino Wasu,
Chapin, 11.55. And Jacob Harmon brings up fourth place for Mid-Carolina at 11.73. I will be the first one to say that if I make a mistake on your name, it's not on purpose. I have the last name Oops. It happens all the time. All right. The girls' 400-meter dash.
Roan Allen with 1.2. In first place, White Knoll second place, Zadaria Summers with 1.05. And Khadijah Hilton for White Knoll, 10th grader, 1.9. And Bella Martin, 8th grader for Chapin in fourth with a 110.7.
See you. Where's the other boy?
He's not a track guy. He's in the 7th grade. I still don't like him. He likes basketball.
We're definitely winding down a little bit. I see a few of the people, spectators, leaving, and the gun's up, and they're off. And we have two heats of boys 400-meter hurdles. I'm going to give a shout out to Chris Watson.
Wherever he is.
Wherever he might be. The long lost Christopher Watson. I know that he's listening. He has chimed in several times and said that he was listening. And this is something that he was very much looking forward to. But we will be also broadcasting again later this year.
This is where it gets heavy, Richard, right here on these last ones.
And then we got a tight race. Up,
me at a hurdle.
Here we go. Comes down to the final.
Comes down to the sprint. Looks like White Knoll.
TJ Peoples. with a close race with Colby Samuels. I think TJ might have edged him out. All right.
Heat 2, Will Martin, Chapin. Clay All, 8th grader from Chapin. Aiden Myers, 11th grader, White Knoll. Rod Bird, a 12th grader, Mid Carolina. Stephen Wilburn, 10th grader, White Knoll. Jake Longshore, 12th grader, Mid Carolina. Jackson Livingston, 8th grader, Mid Carolina.
All right, we got final results from the girls' 1,600 meter run.
Rowan Kohler. She wins 5:59.8. Elena Monaco, White Knoll, 6 even. And Addison Blackman, for 12th grader for Chapin, finishes 3rd, 6:15.21. And Devon Jones from Chapin, 6.1678. So girls scoring points there at the 1,600 meter run for Chapin.
Real quick, I just see a comment from Chris Watson, and it says, "How do I leave a comment when watching?" Because you're texting me. We miss you, but business comes first. Just to let everybody know that CSPN broadcasts just about all sports. We have baseball. We have the softball, lacrosse, soccer, track. So stay tuned. We are planning to do another track meet this year.
I think we just have to figure out with these cameras best angles. Like it's difficult to do tennis when you've got 6 or 7 different matches going on at one time. We may just have to choose a couple matches of the 1s and the 2s maybe. With the students, Asa McMeekin, Carter Burns, they put all this together. We'd like to try to get some more kids to come out. Here they come down the stretch. Oh, it's a close one, but I think Mid Carolina gets that one. What about White Knoll, Chapin, Mid Carolina, Chapin. So the 800 meters is complete. We have 3 more events to go. So complete that we actually have 4 more events now. We're up to the 800 meter. Meter run. Kalia Clary, White Knoll. Lexi Cease, Mid Carolina. Tessa Burke, 9th grader from Chapin. Shania Cohen from White Knoll. Shakina Brown, White Knoll. Katie Barfield, Chapin. Meredith Ussery, Chapin. Halia Miller, Chapin. Devon Jones, 8th grader, Chapin. Leslie Benitez, Mid Carolina. Emily Davis, Mid Carolina. Dara James, 11th grader. Katie Stebbins from Chapin. Mary Noel from Chapin. Erica Davis from Mid Carolina. Krista Kallenbach from Chapin. McKenna Bradley from Chapin. Cameron Watson, 8th grader from Chapin. Ella Bishop, 10th grader from Chapin. And Mary Pfeiffer, 10th grader from Chapin.
Quick update from the tennis. Boys tennis played Dutch Fort tonight at home. And once again, everybody says we're moving up to 5A and we won't be able to handle it. I think that's 4-2 Chapin over Dutch Fort.
He's keeping his word. He said he has a competitive tennis team this year.
We'll have an update from the baseball. I think we got JV baseball and we got JV softball.
Softball and varsity softball.
And we might have somebody down there that might be able to give us a little insight.
Just got a thumbs up from Jack LeGrand, Chapin coach.
And they're off. Ooh, that looks like a fun race. Not really.
$800. We're going twice around, correct?
So 2 times around. This is a little bit of a sprint as well. I think we have Miss Clary from White Knoll way out in front.
$20 total.
This will be interesting if Miss Clary from White Knoll can keep this pace up. She looks awful comfortable.
Yes, she does. Notice how that head's not bobbing. Everything's straight. See if our 3 Chapin girls can keep up. Got a couple Mid Carolina girls bearing down on them for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place. Now, when I ran, we were a little competitive. We would box somebody in.
That's called gamesmanship.
That's right.
That sounds good.
And who do we have here?
Chris Watson. Oh, I can't believe I touched the Clemson ring.
And Miss Lily came and gave us the official results for the boys
1600 meter. Chapin, Jaden Kingsley wins with 4:56.51. Luke Harmon, senior Chapin, finishes 2nd, 5:05.14. 3rd place, Nathaniel Wilborn, White Knoll, 5:10.60. And St. Hadwin scores a point for Chapin. 8th grader Chapin, 5:11.80.
Miss Clary from White Knoll kept the pace up and took the victory.
Well, we finished 2. Chapin finishes 2, 3, and 4. Chapin score from over in Jollyland over there in softball. Chapin JV won 15-0 in 3 innings, and Chapin up 2-0. No, excuse me. Both varsity plans make up. It's 15-0. Chapin wins in 3 and up 2-0 in first of a 2nd game. This was a doubleheader that unfortunately Orangeburg couldn't make the other day. Make up. Boys 800. Karen Shuttley, senior from Chapin. Joe Garay from White Knoll. Joseph Humphreys from Chapin. Luke Martin, White Knoll. Brendan Gray, Mid Carolina. Simon Bumgardner, White Knoll. Jared Ballantyne, Mid Carolina. Julian Tirado from Chapin. Luke Harmon from Chapin. Mitch McCracken, Mid Carolina. Reese Melvin from Chapin. Parker Roof, Chapin. Wesley Black, Chapin. Wilkes Miller, Chapin. Cameron Johnson, White Knoll. Bradley Peeler, Chapin. Noah Mooney, Chapin. Gavin Tirado from Chapin. Caleb Humphreys, Chapin. Eric Brooks from Chapin. Jaden Kingsley from Chapin. And Leon Fulmer from Mid Carolina. A total of 22 runners.
Just to let everybody know that CSPN got a few more games this spring season. We've got OW baseball this coming Friday before spring break. Then we'll have base. Oh, and they're off. Got to look out for that gun. 4-12 baseball against Lugolf Elgin. We also have April 13th girls soccer, AC Flora. Girls softball, April 17th against Dorman. April 18th, track against Union, Mid Carolina, and the Airport Eagles.
Need to come out and watch that softball team. It's Coach Jolly's farewell season. He announced yesterday that this will be his last season as girls softball coach. 9-time region champion coach of the year, headed toward number 10, and I made the announcement last night. So come on out. This was going to be a close one down the stretch, I believe, Richard.
Yes, it is. Interesting strategy by the Mid Carolina runner.
He took off pretty quick. He's fading towards the backstretch now as two Chapin runners have pulled ahead. I know that feeling. I've done that before. More results coming in.
From Lily.
Girls shot put. Olivia Downs, 9th grader. Chapin wins the shot put at 33-3. Madison Chaplin, Mid Carolina at 29-2. And Javaria Rice at 28. And Archkayla Lane, Mid Carolina at 27-8. So congratulations, Olivia Downs, 9th grader. Chapin takes 1-2.
You know, when I was running track, I had a track coach, Mike Moore at Armo. He was a Hall of Fame high school coach. And that young runner from Mid Carolina that was out in the lead fast, he would say, watch this. The monkey's going to jump on his back. And he's going to be carrying a piano.
Yep.
It's hard to run all the way through. That's a very tough race.
Yep. Boys 400-meter dash finals. Alan Alvarez, White Knoll, 52.26 in first. Connor Lehman, 9th grader Chapin, 53.03 in second. Brenton Gray, Mid Carolina, 55.26. And Jason Jenkins for Chapin, 57.30, scores the final point in the 400. All right, we're now down to the 200-meter. Way on the other side of the track, Heat 1, Sage Dreer Chapin, 7th grader. Ashley Pate, 10th grader Chapin. Amira Belk, 7th grader Chapin. Haroon Allen, senior from White Knoll. Zadaria Summers, 10th grader from White Knoll. Kayla Tobe, a 9th grader from Mid Carolina. And Jordan Ray, 7th grade Chapin. Shelby Jumper, 9th grade Chapin.
100 views in total.
Really? Wow, thank you for viewing us online. We really do appreciate it. You can watch this again. CSPN. Just go to YouTube. Of course, on the 200, they have to get their block set. And talking about some former track athletes. Sylvester Mayers ran track with me. Newly announced that he will be entered into the Chapin Sports Hall of Fame. His son currently now plays football at Clemson. Former Chapin soccer player just sat down beside us. Bernie, good boy, Godoy. Doing fine. How are you? I guess watching his sister run. Yes. And they're off on the 200. Have to run that tight curve. Lean. White Knoll will finish first, followed by White Knoll in Mid Carolina, and Chapin finishes third. Excuse me, fourth. Chapin finished fourth. Next heat, we have Zayla Bailey's from Chapin, Monica Sanchez from Chapin, Tysis Williams from Mid Carolina, Bethany Lindler from Chapin, Ashley Miller from Chapin, Ruby Fisher from Chapin, Grace Splitberger from Chapin, and Reese Adam for Chapin in Heat 2.
Take care.
I need to know that time. I want to know.
Boys shot put. Winner is Parker Pitts, 10th grader from Mid Carolina, 42-11. Ryan Trenter from Chapin finishes second, 42-10. Douglas Summers from White Knoll finishes third at 40 even. Caleb Myran from White Knoll, 38-2. Lucas Nash from Chapin comes in fifth, just out of the scoring points at 37-7.
You're talking about Lucas Nash, our own
Chapin's very own Lucas Nash.
CSPN. Mid-Carolina Rebels takes the heat.
Finals girls 400-meter hurdles. Number 1 Carissa Wicker, Mid-Carolina, 115.66. Katie Smith, Mid-Carolina, 122.61. Haley Hankins, Chapin, 9th grader, finishes second with 2 points, 125.02. And Abby Davis, a 10th grader from Chapin, 126.03. Richard, I just can't emphasize enough how these young girls, these 9th and 10th graders, are scoring points in this meet.
And that's what you have to have. Everybody thinks it's your seniors, but you've got to have the young ones. They're the ones that build the program. And we need the volume, you know, moving up next year. You need the volume. You know, Mid-Carolina right now, they're struggling tonight a little bit because they just don't have the numbers. It's hard for you to compete when you're only having 1 or 2 people in an event.
Heat 3, Gracie Bates, Kylie Marchese, Kayla Bryant, Katie Godoy, Khadijah Hilton, Catherine Rims, Mary Pfeiffer, and Camden Metz.
White Knoll, Chapin. For some of the viewers out there that have not really been around track that often, typically when you get to the 400 or lower distances, you'll see different track shoes. They actually have spikes on the front and 0 to little padding on the back because they want them as light as possible. And then anything that's the 800 and higher, you typically have a little bit more of a padded cross-country, long-distance running shoe.
I think we're in Heat 4. Violet Miola from Chapin, Gilly Rayner from Chapin, Rachel Gandhi from Chapin, and Sussy Garcia from Chapin.
You know, the 200, just like the 100, we have a lot of heats. See a number of boys over there.
We'll have actually 6. Let's check that. We'll actually have 6 heats.
6 heats of boys. You know, for some of these younger runners, they'll come and they'll start doing the 100 and the 200, or they might do the mile. And by the time they're seniors, they might be doing a completely different event. So it's with having these extra heats, it really gives a chance for these kids to get out here and get some practice in and see what's the best fit for them.
In the boys, Heat 1, which will probably be our fastest heat. You'll hear some more of these names that we've said before. Jacob Harmon, Mid-Carolina, Xavier Gordon, Chapin, Elijah Juan Wilson, Chapin, Alan Alvarez, White Knoll, Uchenna Wasu from Chapin, Cooper Evans from Chapin, David Frederick, White Knoll, and Will Hagler from Chapin.
Shout out. We talked about the whole family. Tim did. Tim Slice did. Good to see you. Good to see you. Which means yeah, you walked by. We were talking about former athletes. And Tim went down the whole family. And you walked right by us.
Hey, I even got Deborah in there as the best flag line girl ever at Chapin.
I can talk about Walt's bias.
He should be coming down.
First heat, typically the fastest heat.
White Knoll, followed by Chapin and Chapin.
And once again, I'm going to predict that Alan Alvarez was the winner.
Was the winner, followed by Xavier and Elijah Wan from Chapin. We'll see if those times hold up. Those were usually the fastest runners. Back. Heat 2, Troy Richburg, Mid Carolina, Murray Newell, White Knoll, Jason Jenkins, Chapin, Donovan Johnson, White Knoll, Jack Edwards, Mid Carolina, Josh Wells, Chapin, and Colin Seacrest, Chapin. Doing well. Be a fast heat here. In the third heat, we have Stephen Godleski, Richie McKissick, Jackson Owens, all from Chapin, Brenton Gray, the lone runner from Mid Carolina, Tyler McRae from Chapin, Josh Oakley, and AJ Koshrenko. After this heat, heats 4, 5, and 6 will be nothing but Chapin runners.
That's on the scoreboard.
It's a good bet.
Picture of him? Live streaming.
Oh, this is live. This is worldwide, man. We got somebody from Virginia. Yeah. It's our first ever track meet. Yeah. And you can watch it again. Just go on YouTube and type in CSPN, and you can watch it. Here comes our Heat 3 runners. And the lone Mid Carolina runner wins that heat. Heat 4, Jackson McCutcheon, Cody Flynn, Jake Branham, Chris Gleaton, Aiden Kitchens, Ryan Norwood, and Cooper Edenfield, all from Chapin. Richard Eates headed over with some more results.
Yeah, McCullough is only. Now, that was only good.
400-meter hurdles for the boys. TJ Peoples wins it for White Knoll, 1:02.86. Cody Samuels second for Mid Carolina, 1:02.92. It was close. Will Lauer Chapin finishes third, scoring 2 points, 1:05.31. And Forrest Ward for Chapin. Ryan Norwood, an 8th grader for Chapin, scores 1 point, 1:05.67.
And I was just informed that William Lauer, that is the fastest 400-meter hurdles in 2 years at Chapin.
Wow.
And Carter Unger, our pole vaulter, she took first place in clearing 10 feet.
Wow.
We'll have the updates for the other order of finish, but she is going to be a catamount She's committed to Western Carolina for pole vaulting. One name that you haven't heard today is Meredith Ussery. She's sick. She's one of the long distance runners here, and she's committed to USC Upstate for next year. And then we have Karin Sluthery and Luke Harmon that are both committed to Presbyterian for next year. So once again, that's 4 individuals from Chapin that are going to be attending college and participating in cross country and track.
Heat 5, Noah Morris, AJ On, Dawson Bates, Trey Stevenson, Enrique Hewitt, Colby Bennett, Chris Haley. You know, we had over 25 athletes here at Chapin sign. I think Coach Gentry said it's the largest class we've had to sign scholarships to play.
And a shout out to, and most people have heard, but Cole Hale being named wrestling high school All-American and finishing 5th in the nation.
Heat 6, Jack Riley, Ross Calderzone, Tyson Thomas, Noah Rankin, Max Stewart, Christian Bolerman, and Connor Calder.
And that is our 2nd All-American this year.
That's right.
We also had big ol' Hank Manus, committed to South Carolina and attending South Carolina right now, enrolled early, but he was a high school All-American. We were just informed that there's another heat of the 200 meter for the boys getting ready.
Yeah,
to
we
run.
have heat 6.
You know, a lot of times when it gets this late into a track meet, for various reasons, you have kids that scratch. They have to go home. They get injured. There's various things, and it's hard as a scorekeeper over there when you have a full lineup and then you see just 2 kids come through the finish line and you think that it's over, but there's a whole nother heat left.
Mm-hmm. Here they come.
For example, we've only got 3 runners in this last heat, and it was originally scheduled for 9.
And as Jack LeGrand always does, even the last heat, he is attentive and paying attention to his runners. We have 200-meter dash girls. Chapin did score a point in that. We have Roan Allen, 25.69, first place. Zadira Summers, both for White Knoll in second place. Carla Tobe, Mid Carolina, and Amira Belk from Chapin.
And what grade from Chapin?
7th grader.
7th, once again. We still have a pretty good crowd, even though there's a couple events left. We will do our best to try to find some fill time, but we have the 3,200 meter.
And Richard,
race.
I think we're gonna run them both at the same time, boys and girls.
Combined heat.
Combined heat, boys and girls. So as the 8 laps commence, we'll call out some names. Haley Cole, White Knoll. Amy Ahuja from Chapin. Addison Blackman, Chapin. Leslie Benitez, Mid Carolina. Megan Golbus, Chapin. Haley Thompson, Mid-Carolina, McKenna Bradley from Chapin, Emily Davis, Mid-Carolina, and Josie Blanchard. Those were the girls. Here's for the boys. Jaden Kingsley, Chapin, Nathaniel Wilburn, White Knoll, Ford Pierce, White Knoll, Luke Harmon, Chapin, Davis Ricks, Chapin, Peyton Brown, Chapin, Tanner Mott, Chapin, Leon Fulmer, Mid-Carolina, Holden Tulick, Chapin, Tyler Golbus, Chapin, Jared Ballantyne, Mid-Carolina, Drew Bunce, Mid-Carolina, Logan Hinkfield, Chapin, Saint Hadwin for Chapin, and Ethan Waits.
And then we have the finish up.
The finish up, the finale, as always.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you've walked away from your computer, your screen, I'm going to give you a few seconds to come back. Turn the speaker up as loud as you can. And for your enjoyment, we're going to play the girls' soccer hype video. Two-time state champion, played in the state champion 2 years in a row, won it 2 years ago, runner-up last year, and they're on course to win it again this year. So definitely turn your speakers up, sit down, relax, and enjoy.
It's a revolution. It's a revolution. It's a revolution.
Yeah, Richard, a funny story. You know, back in the mid-'80s, we were a very feisty crew. We were battling Lexington one night, and it was going to come down to this final 4x400 meter relay to see who was going to win. And we really weren't supposed to beat Lexington. Back then, we were 2A. Lexington was 4A. And we won. I mean, it was close, but the Lexington kid who finished in second place was so mad he threw the baton at Johnny Nutt, who was running our last one, and it all broke loose between the two teams. And luckily, the coaches got between us, but it was that heated of a track meet.
Well, you know, they are athletes.
That's right.
They're out here to compete. And you put your blood, sweat, and tears and all the practice time, and people think, oh, we're just running around the track, and they're not fierce competitors, but they're all out here for one reason, and that's to do their personal best, giving it 100% at all times. I will tell you more than one time when things get heated on the field or on the track or on the court, it's the competition that's coming out, and you still have to show your poise, but sometimes it's tough, and you got to win with grace, lose with grace, and that all comes back to the coaching. And thank goodness that at Chapin we've got some very good coaches in place.
Indeed, yes.
And we don't have those instances, and if it does, they take care of it very quickly. So, but all right, you ready? Once again, turn your speakers up. Let's go with the two-time in a row state champion, your boys soccer team.
It's a revolution. It's a revolution. revolution.
You know, Tim, there's a mad dash this year for the spring sports, and that is for the elusive 50th state championship at Chapin High School.
Yep. We actually have 4 very good opportunities. But, you know, anything can happen in the playoffs. But, you know, with our baseball being currently ranked number 1 in 4A, boys soccer currently ranked number 1 in 4A. Girls soccer currently ranked number 2 behind Hilton Head, which will face off probably in the playoffs. And then you've got the undefeated girls lacrosse team, which they'll be going down in here within the next week or so to face undefeated Bishop England, which was the rematch of the state championship last year. So we've got some and still don't count out softball.
Don't count out men's
they're very
tennis.
good. And men's tennis.
I got an update. I was incorrect on the former score. The score was 5-1 Chapin.
5-1.
Yes.
Well, I talked to him the other day, and he says we will compete. We will compete for the championship. So, you know, we're primed and ready to get that 50. I'm hoping 50 plus.
Exactly. I'm not going to say that he was calling it out, but typically when a coach says we will compete, translation, we will win.
Yep. All
right, we've got another hype video for you, a little bit longer. This is our student hype video. And if you recall, 2 years ago, we were named the #1 student section in the United States. So sit back and enjoy.
25, 26, 27.
It's showtime.
Chapin High is what makes us who we are. One heartbeat, ready, ready, ready. That's who we are.
Got 2 legends over there. Another Chapin legend, John Rogers, former tennis coach, joining Jack LeGrand over there, watching the runners run. Rich, I want to tell you another little story. I was talking about Irmo track. We were facing Irmo, Lexington, and Will Lou Gray. I don't know if you remember Will Lou Gray, the Opportunity School. And we had Chapin had one of the best 4x100 teams in the state that year. And along with Irmo and Will Lou Gray was pretty good too in Lexington. They all were. And of course Sylvester Mayers, our fourth runner on the 4x100, he was out. He strained something earlier in the day, and so yours truly had to run the last leg of the 4x100.
They always say the fastest one is for last.
And
anchor.
The guys got me and they said, look here, we're going to win a medal. We're going to finish this third. We're going to win. Don't worry, we'll get you a lead. Well, sure enough, they got me a lead. Irmo and Will Lou Gray got ahead, and it was between Chapin and Lexington. They got me a good-sized lead. But, of course, my short legs, as I was coming down the last 100, I was going click, 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 click. And I heard this girl yell about halfway down, catch him, Ricky. And I heard in my ears, I heard click, 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 to my click, 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 click. And he caught me about 2 yards from the finish line, and we finished 4th. Oh, mercy, but didn't get a medal. But I just remember that girl yelling, "Catch it, Ricky," and I knew I was in trouble.
That's never good when you hear the footsteps coming up.
Yes.
I will have to tell a quick story of the Irmo track when we had the legend Coach Mike Moore that passed away a couple of years ago. But he had just come up to Irmo from coaching Orangeburg Wilkinson. And on the mile relay, he came to us. He said, "Fellas, we know it and they know it that we can't beat them. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to reverse the order. We're going to put the fastest first and then the second fastest second." And then he looked at me and he says, "Oots, I'm going to make you third. And you know Babyface is going to be coming up behind you. You're going to have a lead." He says, "When you hear him come up behind, a little bit of downtime, and you know when you go to track meets or all day invitationals, you can really have a chance to learn a lot from the coaches. And it's not just what's on the track, but life lessons as well, because when you've been coaching 30 plus years, you've seen and witnessed and gone through so many trials and tribulations, and it's not how you start, it's how you finish."
That's right. Looks like Chapin has finished 1, 2, 3 for the guys. We've yet to have a girl come across.
Unfortunately, here comes a girl, but we don't know if it's her last lap or not. We were too busy watching the videos with y'all. We hope that y'all enjoyed it as well. Look at this finish right here. Everything he's got. I'm pretty sure if I tried to run 2 miles right now, they'd be having to pick me up off the ground.
That's right.
Oxygen, 911, everything. 911, call me.
Oh, Marcy would be in business.
Oh, there we go. There's our first. Oh,
no.
beep, beep, beep.
She still has one more.
Oh, that hurts.
She must be the leader, though.
That's when it's 50-50. Do I keep on going, Coach? Sorry about that. Do I keep on going? Well, that's what's tough when you do a combined heat.
You know, you finish with your hands up. He looks at his watch. He finishes with his hands up. He beat his time.
Mid Carolina runner coming through, giving his all the way through. I don't know, but I think I got a little 7th grader, maybe 8th grader right there. Finishing strong. He's still running. Long stride, comes all the way through. Looks like he could run another 4 or 5 miles. I don't know. Is this our leader or not? I don't know if it's the Mid Carolina girl or.
Nope, she's still got one more.
Oh, she's got one more.
Yes,
Here we go. Here we go.
White Knoll. That would be Haley Cole.
Haley Cole wins. Now, how many relays do we have in that last one? Are they going to combine those?
It's just one team each.
One team each. I've seen it done rarely in track. In swimming, we do it as much as possible.
Comes 2 Mid Carolina girls. They still got one more to go. Uh-oh, here comes some more results coming across the track.
Miss Lily with the results. I'll tell you, she might not run track, but sure does get a lot of mileage in the night.
Boys 200 meter, Alan Alvarez, first place, White Knoll. We need to check, see how many events he was in. We've called his name out several times tonight.
I think you only get 4.
That's
Maybe
right.
he did 5.
But Chapin finishes 2 and 3. Elijah Juan Wilson and Uchino Wasu. Followed by Donovan Johnson, White Knoll, and Jacob Harmon, Mid Carolina.
That's the sprint events are a little tough for the
Yes.
younger ones to win and to place high because their muscles haven't fully developed. But just as a reminder, in the long distance, especially for the girls, Meredith Ussery is sick and was unable to run today. And she typically wins a lot of her events, the mile, the 2 mile, the 800.
Second girl that's coming in right there from Mid Carolina must be Leslie Benitez. Thank you. They don't call him Uncle Jared for nothing.
Which one are you on?
Looks like Haley Thompson.
It's interesting when you see these kids run the 2 mile. You turn around and you see them, and they keep on running. I know they call it a warm down, cool down, and they're just going to run another 800.
All right, here we go. The finale.
This is it.
Mid Carolina in lane 3, White Knoll lane 4, Chapin lane 5.
We're getting ready to turn out the lights here, which is a new concept because when Tim and I ran, we didn't have lights.
Nope.
Some people say that Edison wasn't even born yet.
But I guarantee you, we never, unless you were at someplace like Spring Valley or 96 that had lights, we didn't have enough people to have 6 heats and 9 heats and.
My lovely wife is probably thinking the same thing that a lot of other people. How can you still be at a track meet? Because it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
I think she forgets that Chapin has lights. Can't cut in. Got to stay in your lanes.
That's right.
Until the first runner has to stay in his lane all the way. True story here. Senior year in the Upper State Championship. I was on the #1 seeded team in high school at Irmo. Our first runner comes around in first place. First runner stays in his lane, comes down to the backstretch, and the baton, it's almost like slow motion, comes out of his hand, goes up in the air. He had the wherewithal to stop because you cannot get out of your lane and impede another runner.
That's right.
Waited, picked it back up, took off running. The 3 of us had our fastest splits ever. Came in 5th. They only take the top 4 from the upstate and lower state to the championship. Now they've corrected that, and you can have everybody come from the lower state or the upper state. It's the 8 fastest teams and the 8 fastest individuals that make the state championship.
Yeah, we had same incident happen, and we had one of the top 4x100s, and at 96 in the region championship, we had a lead, and on the 3rd turn, the 4x100, all you heard was Chapin's baton just hit the ground, and with the lead, just devastating, and you didn't qualify. They didn't take times, you had to finish.
Well, unfortunately, we're not going to have full updates tonight. We don't want to give the results if they're not official, and some of our field events are just getting their sheets in, so we're probably not going to be able to give an update.
Do you know?
Quick update, and I'll say this really quick. JV baseball lost 4-6 to Camden. Have a good night.
Richard, we have 4 teams running. Looks like White Knoll has 2 teams that are running. But once again, only one team can score points.
And it looks like I would say that's probably White Knoll B came in the lead, and A took second, and then here comes Chapin Girls in third, and that's interesting. Things must have changed, and rules do change periodically, because I don't see them breaking down into the main lane, to the first lane. Now, I can see how they're lined up. And this is always a chess match for the coach.
That's right. Yes, they have to line up. Whoever's in the lead gets the inside lane.
And they can switch when it gets really close.
That's right.
Like switch, and you can't interfere with the other one.
So the runners really have to pay attention. I mean, the next runners, or actually the runners have to find their girl.
All right, to finish us up, we're going to bring in Chris Watson, that knows a lot of these runners, and he can sort of give us an update. We don't have a list of the actual runners, so he can help us out and identify who the Chapin runners are.
Hello, Tim.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing fine.
Good. Coach Hines and Coach Graham were talking about how you were a runner one day, Tim.
Richard and I have both been telling stories over here.
I had that Coach Graham. I couldn't remember if he'd been here 35 or.
Oh, he's older than dirt.
He said he's been here 38 years.
38 years.
38
that's
years.
Right. That's right.
And Coach Hines got 18 and 7 with the cross country team.
Because I remember it was Jack and Paul Sheely and Coach Caldwell, Patricia Caldwell.
Okay.
She did the girls sprinting and field events. Paul Sheely did the sprinting and field events, and Jack just did the long distance. And that's basically how we competed. We had some heck of a long distance runners.
If you remember, Jack coached a few years ago. Do you remember Luke Lovelace?
Yes.
I was fortunate enough to go and listen to Luke's speech when he was a senior here at Chapin, and I went on. If you look up to the record board up there, you see his name numerous times, but I sort of lost track of him when he left Chapin. So I asked Coach Legrand a week or so ago what happened with Luke, and he went on to set records at Louisville.
Yep.
So,
he was an unbelievable runner.
Unbelievable. And I asked Coach Legrand if he thought those records that Luke had would be broken anytime soon. He said, not a chance.
All right, White Knoll crosses first.
Yes, sir.
once again, only one White Knoll team will score points in a relay. So it looks like maybe Chapin's going to take second.
Still a nice kick there on the last 50 here. Nice job.
And the final Mid-Carolina runner crosses, and that completes our track meet.
So next we got the 4x4 boys.
Yep. Ladies are finished. This one will be interesting.
It should be. Let's see if Alvarez is running for Mid-Carolina.
I don't see how. He's been in like 12 events already.
Let's see. I've known Alan.
We've called his name. I don't know. Richard and I have called his names. I don't know how many times
That's
tonight.
Right.
He's a heck of a runner.
He is. I've known Alan since he was about 7 years old. Ran on U.S. Track and Field with him, and he just finished last weekend. He finished third in the nation for his age group, which he's a senior at White Knoll. I want to say he did it in the 400. No, I'm sorry, the 200.
Is he going to school somewhere, or?
I talked to him a few minutes ago, and he's still got some options. He's a heck of a football player too. He plays defensive back for them as well. So his dad is a great guy too. His dad's a phenomenal musician, and but Alan is a stand-up young man. It looks like we're not having the privilege to watch Alvarez in the 4x4, but.
Telling you, I think he's won. He's been in at least 4, because I know he was in one jumping event.
Yeah, he does the long jump. He does the 100, the 200, and the open 400. Because in high school you can only run in 4 events, and I think he took first place in all those.
I think so.
Yeah. Here we go, Tim. Anchoring tonight, normally leading off in this race is Connor Lehman, and Kieran Shutterly normally anchors the race, but tonight they are switching up the format here, so we got Connor Lehman's going to anchor, Shutterly's going to run third. Interesting enough, Connor Lehman is 0.03 of a second off the Chapin record of the Open 400. He ran a 53:03, I think, tonight.
I just can't get over how his body is filled out. I mean, he played football as a 9th grader and was a heck of a football player, and you can just tell the weight room and this running helps him. And
yep, he's definitely developed. I mean, he's got, of course, an older brother, Taylor, that'll be a rising senior. That's normally a track participant too. He comes from an athletic family. His dad played ball.
Just stay with him.
Currently, we got White Knoll in first with a close second. Chapin, and third is Mid-Carolina. But Connor's dad played football. I think it's Division II in Michigan, and was a heck of a running back. He and his brother actually played on the same team.
The key to this one, this race I've always thought is to just right here on these exchanges is not to just take out on a full sprint early, but you got to run your race.
That's right.
Because you can cost yourself in that first, 100, first 200, and end up getting caught in the last. And this is also Richard and I were talking. Here at the start, you got to find your runner.
That's right.
You got to find your partner.
Yep. All right, so the handoff's going to go to Shutterly. Chapin's currently in first now. Kieran is typically runs a great 400, but typically the 800 and the mile are his races. And talking about a kid that's really achieved, he's going to Presbyterian in the fall on a cross-country scholarship. Man, he really stretches it out.
Yes,
here.
he did.
So I'm going into turn 3. Chapin's probably got at least a 75-meter lead on White Knoll. Now you don't see a kick, Tim. Watch Kieran come down this front stretch here towards the finish line. He will kick like he stole something. So Chapin's currently in first, and Connor Lehman's awaiting the start here, or the handoff. Great finish by Shutterly. Here's the handoff. And he's letting it out. He's got to be gassed from that almost record-setting run earlier. So Chapin's still got about a 75-meter lead. Lehman's going in the backstretch heading into turn 3. A White Knoll kid's running too, though, Tim.
Yes, he is.
Lehman's coming out of 3, going into 4 now. Looks like Chapin's going to win it, Tim. Nice anchor leg by Lehman.
Yes. Finishing strong.
Nice run, bud. So it's going to be Chapin in first. They probably won by 120 meters or so. White Knoll is going to finish second.
The Carolina runner caught up some ground.
He did. He made that some nice distance there.
Yep.
All right, for you guys.
And that completes it.
It does. If you guys want to look up at some scores, probably after midnight tonight, these scores will be posted on scmilesplit.com.
And you can watch the whole track meet again. Find your runner. Again, it'll be on go to YouTube, search CSPN, and look up the track, and it'll be there. So thank you for being with us, and we'll see you at the next CSPN broadcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.